Hello everyone, I am Mohan Amaravati from SUC College of Engineering, Department of Information Science and Applied Chemistry for CSC team. It's a course name and I'm going to explain about corrosion and types of corrosion and definition of corrosion. First of all, definition of corrosion is a natural process that converts a refined metal into a more chemically stable oxide, and it is a
Battery is charging.
deterioration of materials by chemical or electrochemical reaction with their environment. Differential aeration corrosion: when a metal is exposed to different concentration of air, oxygen, or part of a metal exposed to a lower concentration of oxygen becomes anodic and it undergoes a corrosion, and whereas other part of a metal exposed to higher concentration of oxygen becomes cathodic and remains unaffected. This kind of corrosion is called as a differential aeration corrosion. And in this diagram, you can see this is a iron rod dipped into a sodium chloride solution, and inside the iron rod, instead the sodium chloride is a less oxygen, means it gives names as anodic, and outside the solution it is in the air and became more oxygen and cathodic. It gives example iron rod partially immersed in a sodium chloride solution. Part of the metal immersed in solution is exposed to lower concentration of oxygen, becomes anodic and undergoes corrosion, whereas the part of the metal outside the NaCl solution is exposed to more oxygen, becomes cathodic and remains unaffected. And the anodic and cathodic reactions are at anode Fe2 plus 2A minus gives rise to anodic, and at cathodic 2H2O plus O2, and for Fe and OH, Fe2OH minus gives rise to OH twice. And next one, two types of corrosion like water lime corrosion and pitting corrosion. And first we have discussed water lime corrosion. Water line corrosion: it observed in a steel or iron water tanks partially filled with water, and in any water tanks or storage it is partially filled with water. When a steel tank is partially filled with water for a long time, the inner portion of a water tank below the water lines gives supposed to a dissolved oxygen, whereas the portion above the water is line exposed to more oxygen. Thus the portion below and the water line acts as the anode and undergoes corrosion. The upper portion acts as a cathodic, each is unaffected. When a steel tank is partially filled with the water for a long time, the inner portion of the tank below the water line is exposed only dissolved oxygen, whereas the portion above the line is exposed to more oxygen. Thus the portion below, this is a water line corrosion. It is a water stored in this dam, and you can see this is a corroded areas. A distinct brown line is formed, and just below the water line is due to the deposition of rust, and the cell reaction are at anode and cathode gives rise to finally the ions combine to form corrosion product. Example: ships which remain partially immersed in sea water for a long time undergo and water corrosion, lime corrosion. Hmm. The pitting corrosion: this type of corrosion is observed when dust particles or oil drops are deposited over the metal surface, and pitting corrosion is due to the metal surface is not homogeneous. External environment is not homogeneous. So this is the pitting corrosion. ಯಾವಾಗುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ metal surface homogeneous ಮತ್ತು external environment is not homogeneous. Crystallography directions are not equal in reactivity. So environments are not uniform with respect to concentration. This is the pitting corrosion, and this is the anodic reaction. It is O2 and NaCl plus NaO2 gives the anodic, and this is the all mixed forming. And corrosion product names is rust and crack damage, coating, passive film, protective, and steel, iron, metal, and gives the pitting corrosion. And next, pitting corrosion results: it gives the when the portion of metal covered by dust which is less irritated becomes anodic and undergoes corrosion, and pump it, the remaining area of the metal which is exposed to a higher concentration of oxygen and becomes cathodic and remains unaffected. Once a small pit is formed from a rate of corrosion increases because formation of small anodic area to corrode faster because accepting electronics from the cathodic areas increases the cell reaction. It is in the form of anodic and cathodic, and we have to combine it gives a net reaction like iron gives to Fe2 plus 2 electron minus and off O2 gives H2 and 2E gives to 2OH and 2OH twice. Thank you guys.